All right, guys. What's going on? It's Josh Answers here from the Trading Fraternity. If you guys like this video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. Let's see if we get this to like 250 likes. We average at like 150. So I want to see, especially if you guys like this video. But I'm actually going to talk about penny stocks today. What I'm going to talk about is how to, I guess, research a penny stock and really spot pump and dumps. And in that, I'll kind of explain why I don't like penny stocks, but then also how penny stocks are created. How does a reverse merger work and how penny stock companies are formed? Because it's a pretty fascinating process. It's shady, and I will give a warning. I'm not. Hopefully, people don't take this the wrong way and take this information and go make a penny stock company and form them. But hopefully, you'll guys see kind of the danger that I speak about with just seeing how easy these companies are formed. So to begin, here's OTC markets. This is how I look up the penny stock companies, because you can't really go to NASDAQ.com and find over-the-counter filing. So this works, and I guess one benefit about penny stocks is that when you go in and trying to get fundamental information, penny stocks are actually easy to read because most of the numbers are very small. It's not in millions or thousands, and the filings are funny. So, if you want to find filings, MJNA, I have them already pulled up, but I'll show you how to get to them. You go here, then click filings and disclosures. It gives you your warning. There's a difference between OTC pink sheets, there's OTC BB, and I forgot the other one, but everyone has designations. And if OTC pink and OTC BB, I think OTC BB is the most legitimate. OTC pink sheet is less legitimate, and that has to do with how often they report. Because why these companies are over the counter, not only for their size, but limited reporting. And that means, a lot of these companies don't have it. And really, how you could spot these companies is you'll notice with the filings or even the name of the companies, the process of how it works, to make a penny stock company, what happens is they go find a shell company. It's a company that's already made. Some have revenue, some don't, but it's already publicly traded. It's pretty much a ghost company. It's dead. And what happens is people sell these. If you go and Google OTC shell for sale, DealStream's a site where you could find listings. It's not really too legit, and you got to be careful. There's one like here. That's a decent listing, but where is it? I think it's like $5,000. Yeah, pay as you go. These are usually scams. They get you to pay a fee, then you pay $5K up front, and they're saying you could get a company for as little as 20 grand, but really what ends up happening, you pay the 5 grand and you never really get the company. So what you do here, but pretty much they sell the companies. Here's a more, to understand it. They're saying this company has authorized 120 million shares. There's 1.1 million outstanding. The float is 370. Insider shares is 810. So essentially, and then now preferred shares 5 million authorized. So, and there's none being held. So the common shares actually are held by people. And this is the issue with both investing in a penny stock and buying a penny stock if you were going to buy the shell. But what happens, they do a reverse merger. This company is owned by a company now. A company owns it, and they will sell all the shares at a certain deal to a buyer, and that's what we call the reverse merger. And what they'll do is now they'll say, oh, okay, this company now owns this private company. However, we're going to switch the name of this company now to the private company. We're going to fire every board of directors on the old company and hire a new board of directors. And pretty much the company that just bought the shares takes over. They fire everybody, put their staff, but they're still operating under the same name and even the same balance sheet. So now the issue, what happens here, as you see here, there's 1.1 million shares held by both insiders and the public. So that's why you guys got to be careful sometimes if you invest in a penny stock. Although, it's hard for me to find penny stocks that are good, but you're buying, this is what we call toxic debt. Imagine all that 1.1 million shares held. If that stock starts ripping 1,000, 10,000, 20,000%, you're going to have 1.1 million shares dumped of bag holders who are holding this. So that's what you have to be careful for. And what happens, they take over this company, and from there they could issue more stock. They could go about, changing it. And, a good sign to notice of when this happens is usually you'll see the company operating under a name that doesn't make sense. That's why, like mine, that was a big penny stock, but they're called Mineral Co. Resources. And why? Because they were a mining company initially, and they got bought out by the energy drink, or they quote unquote, they paid the energy drink company. The energy drink company, mine bought them, and then did a reverse merger and fired all the board of directors and then hired a new board of directors, and now the people who gave him the cash took it over. You know, a good example of this, and this is even, it's kind of like an organized takeover when they make an agreement with the owners of the shares. However, you could even do this without ever contacting the owners of the company, but it's much difficult. You know, it's much harder. An example of this is what Martin Shkreli did with K-Bio. If any of you guys are familiar, you know, the guy lost like 200 grand shorting the stock. But what he did was, the shares were so cheap at the time, he went and bought 51% of the company. And now, more often than not, most of the articles of a company, depending on what they say, but if you have 51%, you can now nominate the board of directors, change the company name, and put on your own board of directors. So that is what Martin Shkreli did. He went, bought 51% of this company for like 5K bio for like 1.5 or $3 million, something around there, changed the name, fired the board of directors, and put himself now as the board of directors. He now just went from, by buying 51% of the float, or even a majority of the float, he now got to become the owner of a publicly traded company. And well, quite simply, that's how you start a penny stock. So why I say now how you spot these pump and dumps is, one, by looking at the name. You know, you want to see what kind of name they had and what business of operation they are, because as you see, if you're just savvy enough to know how to buy these companies, you can make a lot of money. You know, and that's what these penny stock promoters do. And that's why I say it's dangerous, you know, even if you're trying to flip these stocks, because it's usually some scumbag. He's coming in, you know, with 20,000 bucks, 50,000 bucks, you know, literally go look at all these offers, you know, NASDAQ, NYC ready, clean OTC shell, $47,000, you know, they're paying that. It's saying it's fully reporting, zero debt. So 200 million shares owned by 5 people, 40 million free trading, you know, look at all that stuff. These guys are coming in with 47,000. The stock's publicly traded already. All they do is promote it, and then they start selling these shares, and they could issue more shares. They come up with some crazy story, and it's usually related to the hype. You know, that obviously the biggest one is marijuana. That's why I'm looking at marijuana stocks. And they come in, hype it up, and they issue shares to the public and make a shit ton of money. And that's it. You know, it doesn't matter what they are. You know, I'll even read some of these filings so you guys can get a picture. Here's mine, Mineral Co. Resources. We could go to their first filings here. You know, 2010. You see, when's this one from? Oh, this is from 2012. So this is where they actually made the change. You could see when they started. You know, you just got to read their overview. Where is it? I think I went too far down. But again, usually it's like the first line, it says overview when you're reading the 10K. It explains what the business is doing, you know, where they're at. I think this is a 10Q. So let's see, level 2. I need to make this smaller. Business overview. So this one, it's saying Mineral Co. Research was incorporated June 2007. Our 2 subsidiaries are Mineral Co. Honduras and Level 5 Beverage. That's the drink company that they bought and later took over and became the company. But as you see, this happened in like 2012. From 2007 to 2012, they were operating as a mining company. You know, literally, they're saying we currently have an interest in 2 hydroelectric projects, one in various parts of Honduras. They need an estimated 200,000 to complete them. But that's just one thing. You know, we go here. We could go read another one of their 8K. This is where they start saying, oh, and this is down the road when they're actually involved. But as you see, let me go to this one. I think this one will explain it. This is one of their first ones in July 2009. But you see their, you know, this is literally their 10K. But let's see their overview. I think I scrolled up too high. Too hard. I meant too high. Let's see. All you see is gas pipeline, but it's actually just quite comical. Sorry, I go too fast on these. Uncertainties, properties, overview. There it is. See, it's very hard to scan over this, but we're incorporated 2007. It literally says we've been engaged in acquisition of interest and leases in oil and natural gas. We have no subsidiary. So as you see, 4 years later, they bought on another company, and they bought on Level 5 Beverages, which became the Vitamin Fizz company, which they started promoting during the whole weed bubble and all that, and hyping people up. It says, we intend to build our business by acquiring royalties and other non-operated interests in productive or soon-to-be productive oil and natural gas projects. So as you guys see, this is a mining company. This is why I say you have to be, this is one of the signs to spot. It's just some guy coming in. They don't even focus on this. You go look at their assets and liabilities. You know, they're trying to buy oil interests for 100 grand, acquire gas properties for 420,000, develop preliminary exploration programs for 900 grand. Like, this isn't a drink company. And you know what happens is they get that subsidiary and turn it into one, and they just, you know, kick some nice story to people, and they get people to believe it, and well, that's what happens. So let me show you. This was the funny one, because as it goes on, you know, they bought level 5. Here's the funniest thing. On May 2013, they entered into an agreement with John Powers to exchange his accrued salary to date for 15,000 shares of common stock. So again, these penny stocks are just designed, and you know, if you see stuff like this, you have to be able to understand their debt. This is convertible debt in the sense that they're just changing his salary to shares, and understand how that could, the more shares that are given out, those are more people who, as the stock gets higher, especially penny stock in large quantities, they're going to be more likely to dump. So in this case, this guy changed what? His salary, $24,500 for 15 million shares. So think about that. You know, he essentially, you know, the stock hit like 10 cents at one point. He just traded 24 grand for $1.5 million. As you see, it's designed, you know, this is why I thought it was funny in this case, because look what they're doing. And now here's the next company, MJ&A in 2008. You see, they were originally incorporated as the Berkshire Collection in Canada. In 2005, they incorporated in Oregon, and they changed to My New Media Corp. On January 2007, and now they own a subsidiary, Club VivaNet, in August 2006. And pretty much, this was their initial ticker, MYNW. It says how many shares were outstanding. This MJ&A, marijuana, it's called Marijuana Incorporated, was called Club VivaNet. And then now you see, here's another filing in 2009. This one was when 2008. 1 year later, they say name change and pending forward split. It changed its name to Medical Marijuana and has resolved to forward split 10-for-1. And now pretty much they're spinning off. So they're changing, as I say, it's spinning off 2 subsidiaries on a share-for-share basis of the shares of Club VivaNet and My New Media Corp, while the company is set April net. So like we said, they're changing, they're spinning off the company from My New Media and VivaNet, and now changing it to Marijuana Incorporated, but it's still going to be publicly traded, and they're going to change the ticker. And now here's the thing. Furthermore, as part of these corporate actions, Bruce has accepted to serve as the company's new chairman and CEO, replacing Don Steinberg. His resignation will become effective on the 2nd of April. Charles Lesson has become president, and Jim Hancock is simultaneously resigning. So as you see, a new company comes in, pays the old CEOs, takes over this dead or failed ghost company, and now these guys they hire new management. So when you see new management getting hired, that's not a good sign. That means something's going on, and that's one of the things you look for. And now they give an example. Look at this guy. This guy was just, his credentials, he was on TV on CNBC in a marijuana thing. He owned a previous penny stock company, CVIV, and if you go look up CVIV, I guarantee you it has probably a failed history. And what is this guy doing? You know, we could go look at his business. You know, this is what he put in his portfolio. He started his first business at the age of 7, shining shoes, and he started the second business at age 8. You know, literally, he said he worked at a furniture store in the late 60s and 70s. After traveling around the country and exploring the communal lifestyle, Bruce began to build an empire in the illicit marijuana business. It didn't take long for him to build a multi-million-dollar drug smuggling business and became one of the top marijuana smugglers in history. Eventually, law enforcement caught up with him and ended his smuggling career. So, literally, he then sold prepaid phones to Globalcom, and that was probably the publicly traded company. And so pretty much this guy was a criminal. Oh, great. It gets better here. I didn't realize this. Throughout the past 4 decades, Bruce participated in the network marketing industry and currently holds 3 world records in that industry. One for the second largest commission check in the industry, one for $176,000. So as you guys see here, this guy's history, started his businesses at 7, worked at a dad's furniture company, then became a drug smuggler, got caught, then became a network marketer. So again, you guys see, that's why I even talk shit about network marketing, you know, birds of a feather flock together. This is your guys' CEO. So you guys think this guy's background he's trying to legitimately operate a publicly traded stock when most of these are shady. I highly doubt it. So that's something to go. I'll leave it kind of at that, to go into it. It's kind of the same thing. You could go read their filings. It's very interesting. And the best part I like about penny stock filings, like I said, it's easy to read. And a lot of times it's funny, it's comical. And it's pretty simple to see how these are not really the most legitimate companies. So I'll leave you guys with that. If you guys want me to go further, let me know. Make sure you guys subscribe, ask questions below, and hopefully none of you get encouraged to make a penny stock company and use this information negatively, because it's pretty bad. So stay in school. I'll leave you guys with that. Be safe, and let me know if you guys have any questions, even about penny stocks. Oh, fuck, I actually forgot. I'll actually do an analysis because someone brought it up in the Citizen webinar. I want to make this video kind of shorter, but I'll even go over tomorrow. Penny stock company that's kind of on the NASDAQ. It's called NAK, but it's interesting. I'll actually make a video on that for you guys. So I'll leave it at that. I hope you guys enjoy it. Stay in school.